question for you. When it comes to waterboarding, how close does the person come close to death?
No.
Or is that not even a consequence of waterboarding? Is it just for extracting information?
When you get into the specifics of waterboarding, okay, it does very much so play on the idea of the psychology of it. It is very much along the lines of if you've been swimming underwater and you're trying to swim from one side of the pool to the other, and as you get towards there, your body starts sitting there going, oh, I want air, I need air, I gotta have air, and you want to go up. Well, believe it or not, physically, you are capable of holding your breath for a minimum of 3 minutes, and you can usually, if you're in decent shape, can hold it up to 5. But it gives your brain the idea that I must have air or else I'm going to drown.
So that's your justification for allowing people to waterboard because you can hold your breath for 3 minutes?
No. You're doing that because you're simply using
sound like
their own...
Adolf Hitler.
But it doesn't hurt them.
Oh, wow.
Well,
I bet the Jews thought the same thing, right?
I thought
that would hurt
But it doesn't hurt them.
You got two.
Are you kidding me?
You got two news reporters that are out there on YouTube right now who have both been through on camera through waterboarding. Neither one of them have any sort of psychological damage. They're still going on air and doing all their great old stuff. Now you tell me how that is torture when a person can go boom, boom.
They went into it knowing what was about to happen. These people are going into this not knowing what's about to happen, and then when it happens, they think they're about to die. These reporters went in going, we're going to waterboard you, we're going to put you down, we're going to put water in your mouth, but you're not going to die. So no matter how they felt, they knew they were okay. When you were out there in a prison and somebody blindfolds you, throws you on your ass, and starts throwing water down your face, you don't know that you're not going to die.
And that's why they talk.
Stephen, I actually thought I thought I was the politician here. But you sound like the politician. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
Not at all.
You're talking in theory. You're nebulous. I mean, it's just like, so it's an intellectual discussion that really is not getting to the
Now, Brian,
root of the problem.
you were in Cuba. Did you get a chance to go to Guantanamo Bay?
No, I did not.
So you were outside. Where in Cuba were you?
I was just in the Havana and the surrounding.
So you never got a chance to see what was going on
correct.
inside?
That is correct.
Let him in anyway.
Probably not.
So now, Stephen, being someone that's intimate with the subject of waterboarding, where do you think where does this debate get started in America? Do you think it's misinformation, or do you think it's a vast difference in what can and cannot be done to human beings, a human rights issue?
I think the discussion needs to follow basically 4 different points. It needs to understand the difference between warfare and law enforcement. It's a completely different concept, and it applies completely differently depending on who you're dealing with. I mean, in law enforcement, yes, it is still illegal to drop a bomb on somebody. Okay, just as it is, but it's not illegal in the military to drop a bomb on your enemy. That is what you're supposed to do. Okay, that's totally and completely legal. Those are the differences. You have to look a little bit at what the international conventions are, okay, and actually look at them and how they're implemented. So there is a bit of a legal aspect to it. I mean, from that perspective,
when
you have to understand.
Let him finish this too.
You have to understand the idea that intelligence, okay, is a fundamentally different thing, and it has its own built-in limitation on the effects of waterboarding, of doing something like torture.
Hold on,
let me finish.
Let him finish.
Okay? When you're dealing, okay, it is a well-known thing amongst all interrogators, okay, anybody who has done any sort of interrogation, both law enforcement and military, torture does not work, okay? It flat out does not work because you cannot take a person to the level where they will tell you anything, okay, in order to get you to stop. What you have to do is you have to take it to where they are physically stressed and put them to the point where they cannot think clearly enough, and I'm not talking about drugs or anything like that, so that they actually divulge something, that you make them want to divulge something.
So you don't do 100%, you just do 80%.
It's not torture, though. It is psychological manipulation and deception.
So you're saying
this is the whole. This is reflective of the American government.
It's completely the brain.
It's a reflective of the military. It's the bureaucracy. It's the mindset of the leadership of this country. Well, they justify everything. Right. They wash their hands, and they act in an immoral, unethical, illegal fashion.
My question to Stephen is: I understand you're saying the leadership.
This is what happened during World
War II when you say the
Germany,
leadership under the Bush administration, right? Was this how
I'll blame
did
the
this ever
Democrats too. The Democrats
go on under a Democratic administration as well?
Sure, yeah, both.
To my knowledge, yes.
Yeah, of course.
Chris, one thing I wanted to say to the things that you were saying, you said there is a difference between a law and a war.
Right.
Because one drops bomb and one doesn't.
No, one gives you total carte blanche to kill the whole group, whereas the other one, you have to arrest them, you have to point out individual culpability.
I gave you your time. Can I have my time?
I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
You were talking about how the military gets to drop their bomb. Do you not think a bullet coming out of a gun going into your head is going to feel like a bomb? Just because you look at the size of the bomb doesn't mean that it's not still a bomb. You can call a 50-pound bullet that drops on a ship a bomb, but I promise you, if you get a .22 caliber between your eyes, you'll think it's a bomb too. So for me, it's all about relevance. It's all about how you sit and say.
We're down to our last 15 seconds. I'm going to award the Sammy the Bear to the master debater. And even though I wouldn't